Going on, my love bugs? It's me, your girl, Empress Goddess of Georgia Peach, the gorgeous goat, your host with the most. I've been out of pocket for a little while. I've been having to get out here and get this money in here. So I've been doing a little work. I hope all is well. I said I'm a little tired, but I said I just do a little short on here. We're gonna get here with part two of the complete guide to astrology. Yeah, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Chapter 4, the Ascendant or Rising Sign and Decans. In this chapter, I will be discussing the 12 rising signs of the zodiac, also called the ascendants. Your rising sign is the sign that was on the eastern horizon at the moment of your birth and is the angle of 9 o'clock on the astrological chart. More precisely, it's where the horizon line or plane intersects the ecliptic plane, the apparent plane of the sun throughout the year from our perspective. The ascendant is how people see you when they first meet you and what you present to others, often called the persona or mask. I prefer the term receptionist, but any will work. It's the most visible aspect of a person when they show up in the world, the first impression others have of you. It also represents the conditioning brought by your birth and early childhood. All that you are is filtered through your ascendant. The exact time of birth is needed to accurately calculate your rising sign, as the ascendant is based on that date, time, and place. Every chart has a ruling planet, and it's the planet that rules the sign on the ascendant that is the person's ruling planet. For example, if a chart has Sagittarius rising, the ruling planet is Jupiter. The ruling planet is one of the most important planets in any chart. The placement of that planet and any planets that are conjunct or close to the ascendant will modify the energy of the ascendant. Looking at all of this together is how we begin to create a picture of an individual. Because although all people with the same rising sign will be similar, we are each unique once we begin to blend the whole chart. We'll also be looking at the decans of each sign. Every sign spans 30 degrees, and then each sign can be further broken down into 10-degree sections called decans. There are two systems of decans. I will be using the triplicity system, which assigns one of the same element of the sign to each decan. The first 10 degrees belong to the sign itself, that is Aries. Aries. The next 10 degrees belong to the next sign in the same triplicity or element, that is Aries, Leo, and the third 10 degrees belong to the remaining sign in the triplicity, that is Aries, Sagittarius. The other system of decans is the Chaldean system, which assigns one of the 7 visible planets as ruler to each 10-degree decan. This system is less commonly used in modern astrology. Ascendant. Let's look further into the ascendants for each sign of the zodiac. Any physical or characteristic descriptions are mostly based on observation by astrologers over time. Physical and other characteristics I describe throughout this book are based on generalities and should not be considered defining characteristics. Aries rising. Aries rising is a day sign, and these people are very active and straightforward. Usually they are quick of movement and oriented towards sports and competitive activities, though their competitiveness is often self-directed. They often dive straight into things and go after what they want without always having thought things through. Aries rising does everything at full speed and likes to be on the move. They are usually seen as pioneers and leaders, though they have difficulty finishing what they start. There will be no doubt when an Aries rising wants to be in a relationship with you, whether as a friend or more. Their directness is a positive, but can be overwhelming for some. Mars is the ruling planet of those born with this ascendant, and the placement of that ruling planet will give even more information about how this person operates in the world. Additionally, any planets close to the ascendant will temper the energy. For example, Saturn will really put the brakes on the fast energy of the rising sign. Rihanna, John Lennon, and Samantha Fox were all born with Aries rising. Taurus rising. I always think of Taurus rising as a strongly rooted tree with a big, thick trunk because they are steady and solid, immovable if others try to push them. In appearance, they often have a sturdy and solid look and usually like to be dressed in quality clothing, but nothing over the top. They have a very soothing presence, which makes them comfortable to be around unless you try to push them. They are, however, extremely loyal to the point where they see others almost as belonging to them. Taurus rising, a night sign, will usually move at a steady pace and doesn't like being pushed or rushed. Everything about them is sensual in that they are attracted to nice smells, tastes, sounds, and touches. They may also have a pleasant voice. Their ruling
Hey
planet
Charles,
is
how you
Venus,
doing,
and the
love?
placement of Venus will tell more about a specific individual. For example, if Venus is in Gemini, this may make it.
What's up, Charles? How you doing, love? Did you miss me? I've been doing a little housework, cleaning. Got to get out here and get that money till my benefits come in. So, girl, got to do what she got to do. That's why y'all had me going live. I started not to go live tonight, but I said, well, I better, make a little appearance. They might be worried about me, but if y'all was worried about me, y'all know how to get in touch with me. Y'all could have left a comment or something, email me.
Individual more flexible than the Taurus ascendant alone implies. Venus in Gemini may add to their sociability and likelihood that they will use their pleasant voice in some way,
Well, thanks, love.
such as for singing. Planets that conjunct the ascendant will also modify the energy. Martin Luther King, Boy George, and Miley Cyrus were all born with Taurus rising. Gemini rising. Gemini rising individuals are highly social, but also the most chaotic of rising signs. The sign of the twins can argue from both sides of any subject, making them great debaters. But this makes them seem duplicitous, which can be difficult for some more sensitive signs. Gemini rising are endlessly curious and witty and a joy to have around in a social environment. Their attention spans are short, however, so expect them to flit to the next thing very quickly. This restlessness gives them a nervous outer appearance at times, as they are constantly fidgeting. They are usually quite slender in appearance and will often have long.
What's up, Tay Weasel? Champion in the house. Y'all must have really did miss me. I see y'all jumping in here. How y'all doing? I missed y'all too.
Artistic fingers, which you will usually see fiddling with something while they are talking. They are very good at multitasking, so although it may seem they are distracted and not listening, this isn't always the case. Mercury is the ruling planet for Gemini, and that planet's placement will say more about the person than the rising sign alone. A planet that conjuncts the ascendant will also temper this sign's energy. For example, Pluto conjuncting the Gemini ascendant will bring an intensity and depth.
I'm glad somebody missed me. Y'all make my heart swell.
Seen in all Gemini rising people. Bruce Springsteen, Ricky Martin, and Gene Wilder were all born with this rising sign. Cancer rising. Individuals born with Cancer rising, a night sign, are highly sensitive and loving souls, the gentlest and most nurturing of people. Like the crab, which is the symbol of Cancer, they are shy and protective, preferring to slide sideways and quietly into any space. They also have a tendency toward moodiness and can either retreat into their shell or get needy when their mood is down. They are often described as moon-faced and are often thought of as attractive. As Cancer rules the stomach, they may also have a tendency to gain weight and have digestive issues when feeling overwhelmed. Their empathic, sponge-like nature adds to this. Cancer rising feels everyone and everything around them, and they are best served learning ways to protect their energy when they meet others so they don't go into their moody hermit mode. The moon is the ruling planet of Cancer, and that represents mothering or nurturing energy, which explains why others are drawn to Cancer rising people for care when it's needed. The placement of the moon in the chart of the Cancer rising person, however, provides a deeper level of understanding of the person. For example, the moon in Aries will be more likely to want people to express their emotions directly and to also do this themselves. Angelina Jolie, Julia Roberts, Tyra Banks, and John Travolta all have Cancer rising. Leo rising.
Leo rising in the house, that's me. Leo rising in Saturn. What's going on, my loves? It's me, your girl, Empress Goddess. A little tired. That's me, a Leo rising in Saturn. Hey, doe eyes, baby, how you been? I appreciate you dropping in, hollering at me.
Leo rising people are ruled by the sun, and it shows in their appearance, as they often have a lion's mane head of hair and a sunny round face. They are magnetic and light up any room when they enter, making an immediate impression. They are dramatic and demonstrative and love attention. They are sometimes loud, sometimes regal, but always commanding. They often dress for attention as well. Where this is less positive is if they don't get the attention and adulation they seek. Their inner child can get bossy and have tantrums. Leo rising people are big kids at heart and really just want to be loved and to survey their kingdom or queendom with benevolence. They make better leaders than workers, though they tend towards rashness at times. The sun is the center of our solar system, and all the planets and the earth revolve around it. This also suggests the character of the Leo rising individual. They tend to think that the world revolves around them, and it often does. As the ruling planet, the placement of the sun and any planets close to the ascendant modify the energy of the ascendant. A Virgo sun, for example, will be much less exuberant than some other placements. Muhammad Ali, Tina Turner, Meryl Streep, and George W. Bush were born with Leo rising. The persona. Persona is a term used to describe the ascendant or rising sign. This was a term developed by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, who characterized it as a kind of mask designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other to conceal the true nature of the individual. Jung and most modern Western astrologers see the ascendant through this lens. We often identify more with our ascendant when young and begin the individualization process as we mature. It's entirely possible to over-identify with the social adaptation of the ascendant and for it to mask our authentic self through over-adaptation to the outer image. As the persona, in Jungian terms, is the public image, we often find public figures over-identifying with their public image. To quote Jung, one could say with a little exaggeration that the persona is that which in reality one is not, but which oneself, as well as others, think one is. Astrology aims to encourage the person to individuate beyond the persona. Virgo rising. Virgo rising people are the analysts and worriers of the zodiac. Their childhood may have had a parent obsessing over their health, weight, and appearance, which leaves them with a certain fastidiousness about these matters. Because they are standing back and analyzing situations and are quite shy, they can come across as reserved and standoffish, but they warm up as you get to know them. Once you do get to know them, you will find that their natural desire to help others makes them a loyal friend. The tendency to overanalyze and seek perfection makes them anxiety-prone, especially if they aren't busy with projects and if they can't have everything in an order that suits them. They are usually neatly dressed and seem a little uptight. As a mutable sign, they are not fixed in their ideas, but they have to review the evidence before they shift. Modest is a great word for Virgo rising souls, and they usually have a graceful demeanor. Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, and the placement of Mercury and any planets close to the ascendant will modify the energy of the sign. For example, if Mercury is in the fixed sign Scorpio, their investigative quality will be much more piercing, as will their critical tendency. Woody Allen, Hugh Hefner, Oscar Wilde, and Betty Ford were all born with Virgo rising. Libra rising. Libra rising individuals are very pleasant and charming to be around. They dislike conflict, so they are always seeking to mediate and play nice. They are generally attractive to look at and have a lovely round and sweet-looking appearance that adds to their charm. They are often slender. People are just attracted to Libra rising individuals who like to have relationships with others because they tend to see themselves through others' eyes and find it hard to be alone. They can also have a tendency to have a passive-aggressive streak in relationships, as they may expect others to fulfill unrealistic expectations. This is a product of their well-known indecisiveness, as they are constantly trying to balance those Libra scales by looking at all sides. The ruling planet of Libra rising is Venus in her less manifest energy of loving beauty, relationships, and harmony. The placement of Venus and any planets close to the ascendant will modify the rising sign. If Mars is conjuncting the ascendant, for example, the tendency toward passive aggression will be heightened. Jennifer Aniston, Leonardo DiCaprio, Sally Field, her famous "You really like me" Oscar acceptance speech is classic Libra rising, and Venus Williams.
For anybody who wants to get a free copy of your birth chart so you'll know your placements, I just dropped the link in the chat. Hit the link and take you over to Cafe Astrology. You just put in your birth information, and then you can get a copy of your birth chart with all your placements, your sun, moon, rising, Venus, and all that. It's free.
For all Libra rising. Scorpio rising. Magnetic, intimidating, and intense are all words that describe those with Scorpio rising, a night sign. They are very private and even secretive about their inner life, which creates a mystique around them. They often have a slightly brooding appearance with penetrating eyes. Scorpio rising approaches everything with intensity, often to the point of obsession. They dig deeply into everything and have penetrative investigative traits, including seeming to see into others' souls. Because of their very private nature, they often have problems expressing the deep swirl of emotions that their intense nature brings, sometimes even to themselves. They do, however, emanate a deep power and are usually passionate and creative about everything they do. Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio rising people, and the placement of Pluto will modify the rising sign. For example, someone with Pluto in the third house will be more likely to be chatty and less focused. Planets that conjunct the ascendant also modify the impact of the rising sign. Aretha Franklin, David Lynch, Robin Williams, and Prince were all born with Scorpio rising. The descendant. The polarity point to the ascendant or rising sign is the descendant, or seventh house cusp, which is the sign that was on the western horizon from the perspective of the date, time, and place of birth. The descendant is an important consideration when exploring what kind of person you are attracted to and whom you attract in all significant relationships. This can also indicate blind spots within you that you aspire to personally develop through partnerships. It could be said that your ascendant is day energy, or what you put out into the world, and your descendant is night energy, or what you receive from others through partnership. The blind spots the descendant represents are called the disowned self. In other words, we see something in others that irritates us until we recognize that it's actually a part of us that needs acknowledgement. For example, you may find it irritating that your partner is detached emotionally if you have Aquarius on the descendant. But once you become aware of it, you are able to realize that it's actually something you need to work on within yourself. It can be a big awakening. In other words, what felt like aloofness can become a sense of freedom. This is also known as mirror work, where we transmute any irritating qualities into positive traits to be developed. This is an important factor to consider when looking at compatibility. Sagittarius rising. Sagittarius rising people are fun and freedom-loving. They have an air of enthusiasm and optimism about life that few other rising signs have. They are adventurers and are always seeking experiences that will enhance their lives, sometimes traveling extensively and living in places other than where they were born. They also travel in their minds and often have a big library of books or mini books next to their bed. Those born under this rising sign are often so full of excitement and opinions gained from their explorations that they tend to lack tact and may suffer from foot-and-mouth syndrome. Their likability and sense of humor generally stop them from getting into too much trouble, however. They are also seen as a little naive. In appearance, they are often quite tall and rangy and are on the move much of the time, as if they're in a hurry to get to the next experience, which they probably are. Sagittarius rising's ruling planet is Jupiter, and the placement of that, or planets near the ascendant, will modify the sign. Saturn on the ascendant, for example, will make this person less outgoing and more inclined to appear serious. Jamie Lee Curtis, Arsenio Hall, Princess Diana, and Hans Christian Andersen were all born with Sagittarius rising. Capricorn rising. Capricorn rising people are the most ambitious of the zodiac and are very serious and work-oriented. They are definitely not the party animals of the zodiac. They do often have a dry sense of humor with impeccable timing, however. Their appearance is usually lean and quite angular, with bright eyes, and they are often dressed for success, preferring an earthy palette of clothing colors. Because of their serious demeanor, Capricorn rising people can come across as quite cold emotionally, though they really aren't. They just don't show emotion easily. Capricorn rising individuals may have had a difficult childhood or been given a lot of responsibility early in life. They usually loosen up with age. These individuals tend to like security and to be the provider for their family and partners, but there's also an undercurrent of fear of not being or doing enough. Saturn is the ruling planet for Capricorn, and both Saturn's placement and any other planets near the ascendant will modify the rising sign energy. For example, if Saturn is in Pisces, they will be more intuitive and connected to their creative side. Queen Elizabeth II, Jane Fonda, Taylor Swift, and Joseph Stalin were all born with Capricorn rising. Aquarius rising. Those born with Aquarius rising, a day sign, are quirky, curious, and more than a little rebellious. They are friendly and love a good intellectual meeting of the minds, especially if it involves the subject of how to save the world, or at least a part of the world. They also love a good debate and play devil's advocate well. They are humanitarians, often idealistic and future-oriented, and can paint their vision of what a more egalitarian world would look like from a progressive viewpoint, as they often truly want a real humanhood for people of all persuasions. They seem quite emotionally detached while also caring about the world as activists. Aquarius rising usually has a youthful appearance, with a medium stature, and they tend to be drawn to wearing clothes seen as quirky or individualistic in some way. Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius, and the placement of that planet will modify the rising sign, as will any planets close to the ascendant. For example, if the moon is close to the ascendant, they may be a little warmer and more emotionally engaged. Barack Obama, David Bowie, Nicki Minaj, and Carl Jung were all born with Aquarius rising. Pisces rising. Pisces rising people are the dreamers of the zodiac, as they seem to float in the realms of fantasy, and they are very soft-hearted and compassionate. As a mutable water sign, they are very reflective of those around them and are empathic sponges, often having a shape-shifting quality that mirrors those around them. They are imaginative and creative and one of the least grounded rising signs, so they operate best with relationships that steady them. They are susceptible to manipulative people. Because of their extreme sensitivity, they are often vulnerable to drugs of all kinds, including prescribed drugs. They may also be prone to depression because the world doesn't live up to their dreams and ideals. They are often beautiful and have a shimmery, ethereal appearance that is charming to most people. Kind people want to protect them. Pisces rising's ruling planet is Neptune, and the placement of Neptune will modify how the rising sign works. For example, Neptune in Taurus will mean the person is more grounded and connected to earthly things. Planets near the ascendant will also modify how the rising sign works. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Robert Redford setting up Sundance, a leading independent film festival, is a classic example, and Bruno Mars all have Pisces rising. Decans. Decan is a subdivision of 10 degrees of an astrological sign. Decans are complex and have been developed from Egyptian times when they were first based on 36 fixed stars, dividing 360 degrees into 36 sections. These decans were merged with the 12 signs of the zodiac in the 1st century CE, when the Egyptian and Mesopotamian traditions converged. From that point, 2 systems emerged, and we are going to explore the triplicity system to give more information about each person. Each person will have their sun in a decan, which deepens the understanding of that placement. The dates in each decan refer to your birth date. Decans of Aries. First decan, ruled by Mars, is the Aries decan. People born under this decan are the true pioneers of the zodiac and are very action-oriented, driven, and courageous. They approach life with the zeal of a child and have a lovely innocence in their enthusiasm. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Aries, and approximate dates for this decan are March 21st through March 31st. The second decan of Aries is ruled by the sun and is the Leo decan. The sun and Leo bring a regal quality to these people who like to shine in the world and receive a lot of attention. The fixed quality of Leo brings a certain immovable quality to the leadership energy of this decan, meaning that they stick to their aims no matter what others want. This can be the energy of the pompous leader. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Aries, and approximate dates for this decan are April 1st through April 11th. The third decan of Aries is ruled by Jupiter and is the Sagittarius decan. Jupiter brings an expansiveness and seeking quality to the sign of Aries. Aries energy is usually focused, but this decan likes to explore and search for their personal truth. They are very much individuals who go their own way. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Aries, and approximate dates for this decan are April 12th through April 21st. Decans of Taurus. The first decan, ruled by Venus, is the Taurus decan. This person is stable and very connected to the earth and the material world. This decan has a very instinctive body knowledge, which means that they love to nourish their body with good food, things that are tactile, and things that generally make them feel good. Overindulgence and inflexibility can be the downside of this energy, but they do have a very peaceful and loving presence and are usually very sensual and sexual. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Taurus, and approximate dates for this decan are April 22nd to May 1st. The second decan is ruled by Mercury and is the Virgo decan. The influence of Mercury and Virgo brings more flexibility to the usually stubborn Taurus energy. These people are pragmatic and realistic, but in a very quiet and unassuming way. The sensitivity of Virgo and Mercury can make them come across as dull to others of a more visionary and idealistic nature, as they are the people who will always tell others they aren't living in reality. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Taurus, and approximate dates for this decan are May 2nd to May 11th. The third decan of Taurus is ruled by Saturn and is the Capricorn decan. These people are a little more blocked off from the indulgent energy of Taurus, as they can be too busy building and climbing to enjoy the fruits of their labor, though they do still love to own the good things in life. They have a more austere presence and may seem boring to some. They are, however, master builders of solid and lasting structures in their life, whether it be a career, a home base, or a family. Once you get to know the person behind the urge to build, they can be quite funny and sensual under the surface. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Taurus, and approximate dates for this decan are May 12th to May 21st. Decans of Gemini. The first decan of Gemini is ruled by Mercury and is the Gemini decan. Those born with the sun in this decan are extremely curious, and you will always find them taking in information from a variety of sources. They are also likely to be scattered and easily distracted as they flit from one thing to another. This is also known as shiny object or squirrel syndrome. Their mind is very quick, and they make sense of a lot of information in a detached way. But because of their tendency to be easily distracted, they rarely go deeply into any one subject. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Gemini, and approximate dates for this decan are May 22nd to June 1st. The second decan of Gemini is ruled by Venus and is the Libra decan. These are social people who want to be around and converse with others as much as possible. They are, like all Geminis, curious and want to know all about you and what makes you tick. Their natural curiosity also draws them to study art or the wonders of nature, for example. They have a tendency to see themselves through the eyes of others, however, and that can lead to difficulty making any decisions without others' input. They make really good mediators as they see the good in people and can present that to the other side in a negotiation. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Gemini, and approximate dates for this decan are June 2nd to June 11th. The third decan of Gemini is ruled by Uranus and is the Aquarius decan. These are the big picture thinkers who are able to come up with innovative concepts. They are the most emotionally detached and can, for that reason, seem distant from others. However, that's because they are taking the bird's eye view and seeing the connections needed to help humanity as a whole. Their breadth of knowledge is enormous, and their vision is like a giant puzzle put together with seemingly disparate pieces. They are usually very friendly, but will want to talk about some big ideas rather than engage in small talk. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Gemini, and approximate dates for this decan are June 12th to June 21st. Decans of Cancer. First decan of Cancer is ruled by the moon and is the Cancer decan. This makes for an extremely emotionally sensitive and compassionate person who nurtures and cares for those they love with unending capacity for an emotional connection. This can, however, lead to identifying with this role to such a degree that they never communicate their own emotional needs. This can lead to insecurity and emotionally manipulative behavior. They are also likely to find it difficult to let go of past hurt feelings. They love with intensity, which can be comforting for some and overwhelming for others. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Cancer, and approximate dates for this decan are June 22nd to July 1st. The second decan of Cancer is ruled by Pluto and is the Scorpio decan. These people's emotions are as deep as the deepest ocean, and like the ocean at those depths, those emotions can be hard to access and express. Because of this, these people can seem almost emotionless, and their natural reserve adds to this. Of course, this is only the surface impression because the opposite is true. They feel so very deeply that they are willing to do anything for those they love, to the point of self-sacrifice. The depth of Scorpio can also make them possessive of those they love, but they make amazing listeners and can hold space for others like no one else. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Cancer, and approximate dates for this decan are July 2nd to July 11th. The third decan of Cancer is ruled by Neptune and is the Pisces decan. These are the most sensitive and gentle people you will ever meet. They have a very ethereal presence as their moods shift in response to all that is around them. It's often hard to know what they are really feeling, and they themselves are not always aware. They, like those of the first decan, are tireless when caring for those they love. But there's the addition of a tendency to feel like a victim when they feel others take advantage of them. These people must learn to create better personal boundaries. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Cancer, and approximate dates for this decan are July 12th to July 21st. Decans of Leo. The first decan of Leo is ruled by the sun and is the Leo decan.
Boo, hey.
This is the ruler of all, or at least that is how this person sees themselves. They see themselves as special and entitled to be leaders or adored in all that they do in the nicest possible way. They feel as if they were born to be first, and in many respects, they are right, as they radiate warmth and a regal presence. Leo is ruled by the heart, and many belonging to this decan are benevolent leaders, but they often lack humility. When others don't quite see them as they see themselves or treat them with the attention they feel they deserve, they can feel very hurt. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Leo, and approximate dates for this decan are July 22nd to August 1st. The second decan of Leo is ruled by Jupiter and is the Sagittarius decan. These are the gamblers and risk takers of the sign, as the influence of Jupiter brings an expansive vibe and a sense of being so lucky that all they touch will turn to gold. It often does. They also tend to shower that sense of well-being onto those around them because they are generous to a fault. This tendency toward risk-taking can also lead them to overextend at times, but they usually fall on their feet. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Leo, and approximate dates for this decan are August 2nd to August 11th. The third decan of Leo is ruled by Mars and is the Aries decan. This is the warrior lion who will go out into the world with a sense of righteousness and possibility, who truly believes they can achieve anything they desire. Their will is so strong and desire so great that they often do achieve what they set their heart on. The fixed quality of Leo makes them stick to achieving those desires, but can also make them stubborn and resistant to any input from others, and they will rarely admit to making mistakes. They are very open and honest, however, no matter what others say or think. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Leo, and approximate dates for this decan are August 12th through August 21st. Decans of Virgo. First decan of Virgo is ruled by Mercury and is the Virgo decan. Those born under this decan have a very intellectual and extremely rational mind. They are productive to a fault and always seek to make their day function more productively so they can be more useful with their time. They enjoy intellectual relationships in which they can discuss plans and ideas with those around them. They are also great warriors, and their inner self-critic is probably the strongest of all people in the zodiac, as they are constantly analyzing everything. The mutable energy of the decan means they are often course-correcting, which can be both a blessing and a curse. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Virgo, and approximate dates for this decan are August 22nd to September 1st. The second decan of Virgo is ruled by Saturn and is the Capricorn decan. The initiating energy of Saturn and Capricorn relieves some of the potential analysis paralysis of Virgo and encourages them to take action to create structures that give them material security. They tend to be overachievers, seeking to keep building and making money, and are investors more than spenders because that gives them the sense of achievement they need. They can also throw in the towel on some projects if they feel they are failing. They are very responsible and great managers, but their drive to achieve can mean they miss out on the lighter and more fun side of life. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Virgo, and approximate dates for this decan are September 2nd to September 11th. The third decan of Virgo is ruled by Venus and is the Taurus decan. The soothing presence of Venus and the steadying influence of Taurus make this decan of Virgo less highly strung than others. Virgo likes to make things with their hands, and you might find this decan being creative in any field that requires them to mold or use other earthy materials, such as sculpture or finger painting. These are slower moving people and generally quite reserved and self-contained. They also like to dress well and look good, but in a very neat manner. They are rarely flamboyant. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Virgo, and approximate dates for this decan are September 12th to September 21st. Decans of Libra. The first decan of Libra is ruled by Venus and is the Libra decan. These people are lovers of beauty, pleasure, and others. They love harmony, peace, and for life to be smooth and lovely. They are happiest when in relationships, and yet the shadow of Libra is that they can become argumentative at times and will sometimes argue just for the sake of it. They also have a keen sense of what works in business, and a balanced first decan will utilize that and create a healthy work-life balance. When they are as balanced as they can be, they tend to live in a place that is peaceful and beautiful both outwardly and inwardly. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Libra, and approximate dates for this decan are September 22nd to October 1st. The second decan of Libra is ruled by Uranus and is the Aquarius decan. These people are more individualistic than the other decans of Libra, and they are more drawn to the intellect of others in their lives rather than how things look visually. They are also drawn to needing more personal space to find the balance that Libra needs. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Libra, and approximate dates for this decan are October 2nd to October 11th. The third decan of Libra is ruled by Mercury and is the Gemini decan. These are charming people who can woo others with their words, but they are also more changeable and restless, which can upset the needed balance and harmony integral to Libra. They are highly sociable and need to converse with others on a regular basis. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Libra, and approximate dates for this decan are October 12th to October 21st. The decans of Scorpio. The first decan of Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and is the Scorpio decan. These people are deep and extremely intense. They may almost unconsciously play power games with others as they try to fulfill their deep longings and desires. They are often possessive and can be obsessive as they desire to merge with those with whom they are in a relationship. They are not the easiest people to be around, but they love very deeply if you can stand the heat. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Scorpio, and approximate dates for this decan are October 22nd to November 1st. The second decan of Scorpio is ruled by Neptune and is the Pisces decan. Those born under this decan are very intuitive and seductive. They magnetize others with a glamour that sometimes doesn't reveal what's really going on. Their imaginations are quite magical and their ideals are high, but at times totally unrealistic. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Scorpio, and approximate dates for this decan are November 2nd to November 11th. The third decan of Scorpio is ruled by the moon and is the Cancer decan. The nurturing and loving qualities of the moon and Cancer soften the intensity of Scorpio considerably, though their receptive nature still wants to connect with others at a deep emotional level. These people have great loyalty, but with a higher level of trust. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Scorpio, and approximate dates for this decan are November 12th to November 21st. Decans of Sagittarius. First decan of Sagittarius is the Sagittarius decan, ruled by Jupiter. These people are adventurous and optimistic, though they may lack tact at times. They often study higher philosophies and principles, including those of various religions, and tend to be lifelong learners. They also can tend to be on the dogmatic side and preach what they know. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Sagittarius, and approximate dates for this decan are November 22nd to December 1st. The second decan of Sagittarius is ruled by Mars and is the Aries decan. These people may be accident prone, as Sagittarius in general tends to gallop everywhere. Combined with the head-first energy of Mars, they may not always look where they are going. They are constantly challenging themselves and are usually completely open and honest. These people need action and movement. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Sagittarius, and approximate dates for this decan are December 2nd to December 11th. The third decan of Sagittarius is the Leo decan, which is ruled by the sun. This is another risk-taking placement, and the combination can lead them to gamble in life as they seek adventure and experience. They are people of integrity, but also can let their pride get in the way as they aim high, and that can lead to falls. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Sagittarius, and approximate dates for this decan are December 12th to December 21st. Decans of Capricorn. The first decan of Capricorn is ruled by Saturn and is the Capricorn decan. These people have great determination and can move mountains. They are very serious and responsible. Because they have double the responsible energy of Capricorn, they also can have double the fear of not being enough and must be wary of working too hard because of their fear of failure. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Capricorn, and approximate dates for this decan are December 22nd to January 1st. The second decan of Capricorn is ruled by Venus and is the Taurus decan. The middle decans are often the most balanced, and the middle Capricorn decan is no different. The energy of Venus and Taurus means that these people are still responsible and determined, but will also make sure they relax and enjoy the comforts their achievements bring. They are happier with a slower approach to achievement. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Capricorn, and approximate dates for this decan are January 2nd to January 11th. The third decan of Capricorn is ruled by Mercury and is the Virgo decan. These people are more impatient than the first two decans of this sign and are always seeking to make everything they do more functional so that they can get to the next thing faster. They have more of a nervy quality, as they can feel held back by the relentless determination of Capricorn. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Capricorn, and approximate dates for this decan are January 12th to January 21st. Decans of Aquarius. First decan of Aquarius is the Aquarius decan, ruled by Uranus, and these people are real individualists and nonconformists. They are progressive-minded, sociable humanitarians, though they often have only a small circle of friends. They are always thinking up new plans and ideas, and their minds are rarely still. Their overthinking can lead to anxiety if they don't get some solitary downtime. You are in this decan if your sun is from 0 degrees to 9 degrees Aquarius, and approximate dates for this decan are January 22nd through February 1st. The second decan of Aquarius is ruled by Mercury and is the Gemini decan. These people have a similar nature to the first decan, but with a lighter feel. They are still individuals, but are more social and curious about the world rather than only abstract ideas. They are often literature lovers. They are also usually great communicators with a desire to teach all that they study to others.
Hey, love, I showed my face earlier and spoke. How you doing, boo? I thought you hadn't forgot about me. You hadn't even called me or nothing to check on me. I was feeling some type of way about that shit.
You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Aquarius, and approximate dates for this decan are February 2nd through February 11th. The third decan of Aquarius is the Libra decan, ruled by Venus. These people are usually great politicians by nature because they are very good with people and really care about bettering the lives of others. They can usually see the best in people and want to help bring that out. They are often very graceful and willowy. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Aquarius, and approximate dates for this decan are February 12th through February 21st. Decans of Pisces. First decan of Pisces is ruled by Neptune and is the Pisces decan. These people are almost pure psychic sponges, sensitive to all that is around them. They are highly intuitive and connected to the collective unconscious. They are usually attracted to mystical experiences since they already inhabit those realms. They are easily taken advantage of as they have few boundaries, and they often seem to be a walking nebulous cloud of dreams and creativity. You are in...
Yeah, I dropped in over there and kind of, was in the clouds listening to Brother Sanchez a couple days. He been going pretty strong here the last couple of weeks. No, I hadn't been on. I said, well, because like I said, I've been kind of busy, I've been kind of tired. So I almost didn't go on tonight, but I said, I'm going to go ahead and do a little stream, let everybody know I'm still among the living.
Decan, if your sun is...
I ain't always got to reach out to you. But you're right, I didn't. I started to. I said, nah. I said she probably figured, I've been busy or something like that. I know you be busy because you be working all the time.
From 0 degrees to 9 degrees Pisces, and approximate dates for this decan are February 22nd through March 1st. The second decan of Pisces is the Cancer decan, ruled by the moon. These people are creative romantics, but also crave security and safety the most of all the decans. They are loyal to a fault to those they love and can be very needy if they don't feel secure. Their artistic and homemaking abilities will blossom when they are secure. Those born under this decan need the security of the home and close family bonds, but they also need a lot of alone time within that structure. You are in this decan if your sun is from 10 degrees to 19 degrees Pisces, and approximate dates for this decan are March 2nd through March 11th. The third decan of Pisces is ruled by Pluto and is the Scorpio decan. Those born under this decan are often drawn to the realms of the hidden and the taboo, such as the realms of magic, mediumship, and death. They are often finely connected to the other side and may even see spirits. At the very least, they are deeply intuitive and can sense what's happening within those around them. You are in this decan if your sun is from 20 degrees to 29 degrees Pisces, and approximate dates for this decan are March 12th through March 21st. Chapter 5. Planets and other essential bodies. Astrological chart is created using many elements. This chapter looks at the planets and other essential bodies, which can be described as the what in the chart, with the signs being how the planets work in you, and the houses being the where or areas of life. The what in your chart represents such things as your emotions, your drive, your love nature, your mind, or to word it differently, integral parts of the self. The different signs show how those parts of the self are represented in a person and whether that is, for example, in a more enthusiastic manner or a more reserved manner. The house, or the where, indicates the areas of life in which the planet and sign operate most prevalently in individuals. Historically, astrology used the two luminaries, Sun and Moon, and the 5 visible planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Modern astrology, however, also uses more recently discovered cosmic bodies. Some of these are included here, and others will be discussed later in the book. In Part 2, you will learn how to structure and interpret a birth chart. These sections will be used as a reference as you integrate all of the parts of the chart to create a holistic picture of the self. Sun. Sun is the central organizing principle of both the solar system and the self. It's the core identity, and the sun in your chart energizes you. The sun is day energy, as the sun clearly shines in the day and is an inhalation of breath that energizes our bodies. Like the sun in the solar system, everything else revolves around this shining core. The sun rules the sign of Leo. Chapter 11. Your calling according to the zodiac. Birth chart can give a person a great indication about the type of work that will be most fulfilling and will best complement a person's unique talents and abilities. It cannot, however, tell you exactly what career path to take, so it's best to see it as the opening up of possibilities. In this chapter, we'll take a close look at ideal careers and personal profiles as they relate to those careers for each sign of the zodiac. There will be suggested careers for each sign, but please use them as a springboard to other possibilities. For example, a photographer might be a suggestion based on the career indicators in the chart, such as a Gemini midheaven. But if the chart has a heavy 8th house emphasis as well, the person might be drawn to boudoir photography due to the deeper themes and soul challenges of that style of photography. To get a clear picture of the career best suited for you, you must look beyond your sun sign. I suggest looking at the sign on the midheaven or cusp of the 10th house in the natal chart, and then looking at the sign and house placement of the ruler of that sign to give a deeper picture of what kind of work would suit you best.
I keep trying to tell y'all about y'all need to know you're more than your sun sign. Y'all don't even want to listen to.
Would also look at the 6th house to see what daily type of work would suit your personality best, alongside element and modality emphasis. Stellium.
You know I love you, boo-boo. I know you was thinking about me because I was thinking about your ass.
In a sign and aspects. In other words, the whole chart must be considered to get an in-depth vocational analysis.
Boom.
In that vein, I will give examples of famous sun sign individuals, but we are more than our sun sign alone. So please take all of this into account when interpreting your own chart.
How many times I got to tell y'all that?
Aries at work.
Y'all don't want to listen.
Aries are best suited to careers where they take the lead or work independently, preferably starting new projects with others to whom they can delegate to finish what they started. Aries like fast-moving and competitive environments where their natural enthusiasm will not be dampened. Aries are usually bold and up for any challenge, prepared to take risks, and have a no-nonsense attitude. They are the fearless, straight shooters of the world. Firefighter, surgeon, emergency medical technician, art director, public relations professional, military or law enforcement officer, entrepreneur, venture capitalist, free climber, tour guide, CrossFit instructor or sports coach, athlete, metal sculptor, mechanic, hunter, silver or other metalsmith, and chef would all be ideal careers for an Aries. The Aries boss can be inspiring, energetic, and a born leader. You will be left with no doubt how the boss feels about your work, whether that be the highest praise or the rudest and most direct criticism. There is no vindictiveness. The Aries boss is just direct to a fault. The Aries boss dislikes overthinking and expects everyone to put a lot of energy into their work and to complete projects quickly. They also enjoy admiration and respect, but can see through any fake flattery in an instant. Aries employees can be the hardest working and most dynamic employees if you don't try to keep them in a rigid routine or stuck at a desk. If your Aries employees feel bored, they will probably move on. They work best when they are given autonomy and are answerable to as few people as possible. If given the freedom to take ownership of their own schedule and way of working, they will be the most productive and dynamic employees. The Aries coworker isn't really the best at co-working unless you are happy to let them take the lead and do their own thing. They are competitive and like to be first, so they will not react well if their coworkers make their way up the ladder before they do. However, if you are happy to let them lead, they can be full of zest and very inspiring. Well-known Aries people: Lady Gaga, Elton John, Tommy Hilfiger, and Jackie Chan were all born under the sign of Aries.
I love Jackie Chan. His
Taurus
crazy
at
ass.
work. Taurus are best suited to careers that give them stability and security. Taurus individuals are loyal and tenacious, but can also be stubborn and ponderous. They also love the good things in life: good food, beautiful and comfortable surroundings, and nature. Taurus love the tangible things of life and, therefore, love to work with the tangible. This means things that they can touch, see, smell, hear, and taste. Good careers for Taurus are banker, cashier, financier, mortgage officer, singer, farmer, real estate professional, interior designer, podiatrist, reflexologist, florist, gardener, landscaper, jeweler, beauty blogger, brand ambassador, winemaker, chef, landscape photographer, executive assistant, and restaurant manager. The Taurus boss is a builder and will persistently expand and grow whatever business or field they work in. They are probably the most patient boss of all, and they like a harmonious and peaceful environment. As such, they are usually not reactive over small issues. Really big issues, however, can turn the Taurus into a raging bull. But the Taurus boss will usually give the employee a chance to rectify mistakes before losing their cool. Since the Taurus boss likes solidity and stable outcomes, they usually will be tolerant of those needing extra time to do something well rather than demand it be completed in a rush. They love employees who are disciplined and careful in their approach. The Taurus employee is reliable, steadfast, and trustworthy. They have a soothing presence around the workplace and don't get thrown off by crisis. In fact, a crisis can bring out the best in them as they calmly deal with a situation. The Taurus coworker is also pleasant to be around, though their ponderous pace can frustrate some faster-moving people, as can their resistance to change. However, they are likely to bring good snacks into the workplace, so if you would like a treat, they are good to connect with. They are also fabulous at helping self-starters finish projects. Well-known Taurus people: George Clooney, Stevie Wonder, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kenan Thompson,
I knew
Sam
The Rock
Smith,
was a
and
Taurus.
Kristen Stewart were all born under the sign of Taurus. Astrological signs of the rich and famous. Reading the Forbes Top 100 list of the highest paid entertainers for 2018, it's fun to look at which signs best combine talent and wealth-building abilities. Taurus celebrities topped the list with 12.68% of the top 100 born under the sign. This is not surprising since Taurus natives are usually good at wealth building. George Clooney, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Jerry Seinfeld are included in this list. Sagittarians are the least likely entertainers to be included on the list, with only 2.7% in the top 100. Sagittarians tend to value experience over money, and that may be why there are fewer on the list. Scarlett Johansson and Jay-Z are two of the Sagittarians on the list. On the Forbes list of billionaires, there were 27 Librans topping the list. Librans are usually very good in business. Ralph Lauren and Alice Walton are included here. Perhaps surprisingly, since Capricorn is generally an ambitious and hardworking sign, only 8 billionaires were born under the sign of Capricorn.
I knew she was
Jeff
going to say
Bezos
Capricorn.
is on this list.
Jeff Bezos, yep. The
Gemini
man
at
that
work.
owns Amazon. He born the same day I'm
Chatty,
born.
curious,
January
and
12th.
mercurial nature of Gemini means that they are best suited to careers that give them lots of opportunities to keep learning new information and meeting with lots of people. They are not lovers of routine or sitting still for long. Geminis are persuasive, generally great speakers, youthful, and love multitasking. They enjoy fast-paced environments. Careers that would suit Gemini individuals are scientist, advertising agent, journalist, writer, teacher, accountant, computer programmer, engineer, project manager, media analyst, communications specialist, interpreter, transportation worker, driver, storyteller, entertainer, radio or podcast host, blogger, photographer, tutor, guide, personal assistant, salesperson, or TV host. A Gemini boss can be difficult to work for due to their restless and unpredictable nature. They will constantly be on the move. They work best when all routine tasks are delegated and they are left to deal with ideas and abstract projects and schemes. Change is a constant with the Gemini boss, and they tend to notice everything that's going on. Gemini bosses are hugely likable, however, as they have a great sense of humor and are very gregarious. But they are generally quite emotionally detached and won't want to get too involved in any emotional dramas among employees. To more steady employees, working for a Gemini boss can feel like a ball of confusion, but they are not the confused ones. If you can live with the changeability and fast pace, you will have fun with this boss. A Gemini employee does not like being confined in any way and will become very agitated if they feel hemmed in, which will make them ineffective. Although they seem to be absent-minded, they really do soak up information and will get the job done. This is especially true if their natural skills are utilized. They are also likely to negotiate raises easily, as they will always have a good argument as to why they deserve it. As a coworker, Gemini will be a lot of fun, but very distracting as their mind flits from one subject to another often. They will talk circles around everyone they work with, but will be the life and soul of the workplace and will probably organize work parties or events. Well-known Gemini people: Marilyn Monroe, Paul McCartney, Harvey Milk, Venus Williams, Aung San Suu Kyi, Laverne Cox, and Boy George were all born under the sign of Gemini. Cancer at work. Cancer individuals are adaptable and a nurturing presence. They are best suited to careers involving looking after people or homes in some way. They are also traditional and love anything to do with heritage and sentiment. Their emotional connection to their career is important, or they are likely to become emotional and maybe even irrational. They are usually good with finances. Good careers for Cancer are nurse, pediatrician or OBGYN, counseling, business manager, home stager, real estate buyer's agent, archaeologist, historian, caterer, baker, nutritionist, dietitian, professional organizer, feng shui practitioner, teacher, chef, content manager, branding expert, website designer, social worker, or merchandiser. Cancer bosses are strict about work ethics and quite devoted to whatever profession or business they are in. Employees will be rewarded for good efforts in their jobs, but any slacking or bad timekeeping will be frowned upon. Cancer's own needs for financial security make the workplace a serious arena. So if you have a Cancer boss, a careful and sincere approach to all that you do will work best. Cancer employees work for financial security mainly, and therefore take a serious approach to their career and are very diligent. They do expect to be rewarded for their diligence with decent pay raises. If they are, they will stay in the role for a long time. Cancer will also be aiming to climb up the ladder. The biggest downside is that if a Cancer has any emotional problems in their life, they will find it hard to keep that separate from work. Cancer coworkers are natural team players and are usually kind and caring to those they work with. However, they need a stress-free work environment. If things get chaotic, so do their emotions. Well-known Cancer people: Nelson Mandela, Malala Yousafzai, George Michael, Missy Elliott, Michael Flatley, and Danny Glover were all born under the sign of Cancer. Leo at work. Leo loves being in the spotlight and is the royal of the zodiac, or at least that's how they expect to be treated. Leos are, however, full of heart and are passionate, playful, creative, and entertaining. As they are natural leaders, they are best suited to careers that put them in that position or doing something where they can shine their enormous light. Examples of good Leo careers are actor, DJ, graphic designer, advertising agent, comedian, broadcaster, CEO, government worker, architect, director, event planner, media strategist, vlogger, model, product promoter, sales executive, jeweler, artist, or children's entertainer. The Leo boss is born to lead and will let everyone know it. Leo is a good organizer and is smart about assigning tasks to a team. They are also open to new ideas, but not always good at crediting those who came up with the idea. Leos generally create quite a showy environment to work in, and this can be a lot of fun if you always let them be the boss. Never try to outshine a Leo boss because they are very proud and may react like a child if thwarted. As an employee, Leo will require a lot of ego stroking and lots of compliments and attention. They also respond well to titles and status. If you ignore them, however, they will be deeply hurt and will not respond well. They must have a position that displays their talents. When they do, their loyalty and pride in their work is immense. If you are genuine around a Leo coworker, they will be loyal to you in the workplace. They do tend to feel they rule the workplace, though, so it's expedient to let them believe they do. When a Leo's pride and heart is hurt, they often display childlike behavior and can pout. But when a Leo is happy, they light up the room and are benevolent to everyone around them. It benefits everyone to show admiration and to compliment the Leo boss because they will return the love to all their employees. Well-known Leo people: Madonna, Magic Johnson, Anna Paquin, Whitney Houston, and Demi Lovato were all born under the sign of Leo. Virgo at work. Virgos are best suited to careers that utilize their critical and analytical skills. They are drawn to working with their hands, using their hand-eye coordination through technical skills. Highly organized and detail-oriented, they are also drawn to careers that feel meaningful and useful to the greater good. In other words, they like to be of service to others and will pursue any career to the point of perfection. Ideal careers for Virgo are accountant, nutritionist or dietitian, researcher, critic, data analyst, statistician, auditor, housekeeper, organizer, investigator, investor, technician, sculptor, web designer, fashion designer, 3D modeler, computer engineer, veterinarian, welder, herbalist, receptionist, psychologist, psychiatrist, bookkeeper, librarian, bank clerk, medical researcher, editor, technical writer, inspector, or engineer. The Virgo boss will notice every detail and may have a tendency to micromanage, as they want everything to be done to their standard of perfection. They will put a lot of time into planning and forethought before making decisions, but that can sometimes mean that they don't have the perspective of the bigger picture. Virgos are their own biggest critic in all situations. Even though the Virgo boss has very high standards, they are not authoritarian, and they are excellent at crisis management because, like most earth signs, they are patient. As an employee, Virgo lacks ego gratification and wants to serve, but they do have a sense of fairness, so they will need to be compensated fairly, and they are likely to hold you to every detail of an employment contract. As Virgos tend to be warriors, their focus on those details reflects any worries they have about not being financially stable and independent. Put them in a position that utilizes their attention to detail, and you and your company will be rewarded well. Virgo coworkers are caretakers and will help more slapdash coworkers attend to the details, but that can come across as critical and nitpicking at times. They can also come across as anxious and stressed when the details aren't being taken care of. If you need an ibuprofen or some other medicine, however, your Virgo coworker will likely have it on hand because they have a keen interest in all aspects of health. They are likely to have lots of to-do lists. Well-known Virgo people: Beyonce, Pink, Keanu Reeves, Stephen Fry, Lily Tomlin, and Mother Teresa were all born under the sign of Virgo. Libra at work. Librans love peace, harmony, and balance, and work best in an atmosphere that reflects that energy. They are also people-oriented and love to interact with others and form relationships, so they don't really enjoy working alone. They also enjoy any career that involves creating fairness. Ideal careers for Libra are artist, human resources, HR manager, mediator, diplomat, makeup artist or hairstylist, graphic designer, lawyer, matchmaker, fashion designer, guidance counselor, negotiator, event planner, nurse, business administrator, quality control officer, musician, politician, creative advertising agent, liberal arts professor, social worker, or labor relations officer. The Libra boss would be better working in partnership than alone, but either way, they will run a fair and just organization, treating everyone equally in all respects. Constant attempts to please everyone can make the Libra appear indecisive and vacillating. They don't enjoy aggressive and argumentative employees and will be impressed by those who take care of their appearance and play nice. The Libra employee brings their calming presence into any work situation and will be a paragon of tact and diplomacy, getting along with almost everyone as long as the environment isn't loud and contentious. They are ambitious, will want deserved promotions, and being an air day sign, like to be given tasks that will use their intellectual capabilities. The Libra coworker is gracious, clever, and tends to be friends with everyone. They will not take sides in heated discussions and do often take things personally, but they are likely to be kind to your face to keep a pleasant atmosphere in the workplace. Well-known Libra people: Serena Williams, Martina Navratilova, Oscar Wilde, Will Smith, Bruno Mars, and Cardi B were all born under the sign of Libra. Scorpio at work. Scorpio is a deep and complex sign that will work best in environments where their almost obsessive tendencies allow them to dive deeply into their work. As they are very private people, they work well alone and won't be drawn into small talk and chatting at the water cooler. Careers that will suit a Scorpio are psychotherapist, surgeon, detective, researcher, engineer, forensic scientist, financial advisor, market analyst, bill collector, investigator, politician, political analyst, mortician, medical examiner, fertility specialist, sex therapist, chemist, shamanic healer, boudoir photographer, or undertaker. The Scorpio boss is intense and can be intimidating as they have a penetrative presence and can see the motivations of others, and they will use that ability to their advantage. The Scorpio boss will not immediately trust their employees, but once they do, they reward deserving and talented people. Their lack of trust can create issues with delegating tasks, which can reduce productivity on the team. The Scorpio employee keeps to themselves, is very poised, and oozes inner confidence. They are the most resourceful, single-minded, and self-motivated workers, but they are likely to be quite intimidating to both employers and employees. They are best allocated to a deep and intensive project that will allow them to stay in their zone and work alone. The Scorpio coworker has a strong presence and insight into the psyche of their coworkers. Their natural listening abilities mean that others will share their deepest issues with the Scorpio, but will learn little about them in return. Because they are so diligent, they make decent coworkers if you don't expect anything light and fluffy. Well-known Scorpio people: Leonardo DiCaprio, Jodie Foster, Drake, Whoopi Goldberg, Tim Cook, RuPaul, and Julia Roberts were all born under the sign of Scorpio. Sagittarius at work. Sagittarians are naturally curious, upbeat, adventurous, and best suited to a career that gives them the freedom to explore either physically or mentally. Roles where their naturally philosophical nature can shine and where they are constantly exploring new realms will also be fulfilling for them. Sagittarians are suited to careers such as theologian, yoga teacher, publisher, travel guide, travel agent, interpreter, lawyer, judge, professor, high school teacher, ambassador, athlete, especially equestrian, entrepreneur, hotel manager, marketer, salesperson, missionary, architect, archaeologist, public relations manager, personal trainer, brand ambassador, or travel blogger. The Sagittarius boss is fun to work for and cool to be around. They are very easygoing, and their thirst for knowledge and new experiences will give employees opportunities to expand their own field of knowledge. The one downside is the notorious Sagittarius foot-in-mouth syndrome, and they may offend those around them with their blunt and unthinking honesty. As employees, their positive outlook is refreshing, and their enthusiasm and self-confidence can rub off on other employees. They will question everything they are told, however, as they don't like being told that's just how it's done, and their forthright honesty can be ill-received. Generally, their brilliant mind and keen approach wins out. A Sagittarius coworker is a joy to have around if you can keep up with them. They usually have a wry sense of humor and love to make others laugh, and they also love a good debate. They tend to want to lift those around them up, however, which makes them good to work with. Well-known Sagittarius people: Taylor Swift, Billie Jean King, Nicki Minaj, Raven-Symoné, Gianni Versace, and Jamie Foxx were all born under the sign of Sagittarius. Capricorn at work. Capricorns are real builders. They love to create something solid and lasting, whether that be a building, a career, or a business. They are best suited to an environment that enables them to utilize their strong work ethic and are both entrepreneurial and corporate in nature because Capricorns enjoy structure and established hierarchies. Careers that suit the Capricorn are accountant, professional organizer, teacher, cashier, orthopedic doctor, financial planner, computer programmer, CEO, copywriter, business analyst, architect, consultant, analyst, customer service manager, legal secretary, jeweler, construction worker, electrician, human resources manager, supply chain manager, dentist, or forest management professional. The Capricorn boss is dedicated, hardworking, and completely focused on building their career or business. You might find the Capricorn boss so focused on work that they work long hours, often to the detriment of any fun or enjoyment in their lives. The Capricorn boss can manage a team very effectively and is also good at managing difficult clients and crisis situations. Serious and hardworking team members impress the Capricorn boss. The Capricorn employee is probably the hardest working person in the organization and will be so without any fuss and drama. As such, the Capricorn will be reserved and businesslike, follow the rules of the workplace, and doggedly climb the ladder. As a coworker, Capricorn is likely to make sure everyone is doing their job correctly and will frown on any coworkers who are bad timekeepers or sloppy in their approach. They are also likely to be the first to agree to overtime and are very dependable, as well as generous with their time and assistance to coworkers. Well-known Capricorn people: David Bowie, Ricky Martin, Denzel Washington, Ellen DeGeneres, Betty White, and Mary J. Blige were all born under the sign of Capricorn. Aquarius at work. Aquarians are the nonconformists of the zodiac and are not the best rule followers, so are best suited to an environment that utilizes their innovative and quirky nature. They are also the humanitarians of the zodiac, so if they feel their career is helping a cause of some kind, they will feel more fulfilled. They often operate at a very high mental level, so they are happiest using their mind. Aquarian careers are astrologer, astronomer, computer programmer, inventor, professor, environmental engineer, political strategist, judge, social worker, toxicologist, actor, project manager, researcher, physiotherapist, personal trainer, data analyst, environmental planner, poet, musician, electrician, X-ray technician, technical advisor, auto worker, aerospace engineer, neurologist, or hypnotherapist. The Aquarius boss will be a reformer and innovator and will like to create new ways of doing things. They will also be open to your innovative ideas. This boss likes intellect and is distant emotionally, so they will not enjoy emotional dramas in the workplace. As this person is so independent in thought and life, they are often found working alone rather than running a team. The Aquarian employee will have a lot of friends, but few deep friendships, and they will draw the team around them. They are also likely to appear absent-minded and to be quite forgetful of mundane details, as their mind is constantly connecting dots about how things work in the bigger scheme of things. They are, however, conscientious, loyal, and quirky. The Aquarius coworker is always interesting and interested in you at an intellectual level. Expect them to want to have intellectual conversations and to be really friendly. They might also try to convert you to their latest humanitarian cause. They are compassionate but will want to do something active rather than soothe others emotionally. Well-known Aquarius people: Alicia Keys, Alice Walker, Justin Timberlake, Harry Styles, Michael Jordan, and Oprah Winfrey were all born under the sign of Aquarius. Pisces at work. Pisceans are the dreamers and creatives of the zodiac and are best suited to careers that allow them to flow intuitively and creatively and change direction when the mood takes them. The corporate world isn't generally a fit for them unless they work in a creative capacity, because the nuts and bolts of business are not generally their forte. Careers that suit the Pisces native are psychic, medium, artist, home decorator, social worker, nonprofit worker, counselor, nurse, physical therapist, filmmaker, musician, health educator, photographer, energy healer, caretaker, pharmacology, fiction writer, podiatrist, anesthetist, advertising executive, physicist, jailer, poet, actor, recruiter, or diver. Piscean bosses are best when working in creative industries, as they are soft and gentle, not good at leading and giving instructions. Forceful employees will challenge the Piscean boss, but they work well if their team believes in their vision and intuitive insights. Pisces employees must be in a career that suits their sensitive soul. Noisy, challenging, and fast-moving environments will make the Pisces employee miserable. If a Pisces individual works in a calm environment, they will work dutifully. Pisceans' naturally empathic nature makes them best suited to small teams, and they will need to protect themselves from the emotions of everyone around them. Well-known Pisces people: Rihanna, Ellen Page, Wanda Sykes, John Hamm, Trevor Noah, George Harrison, and Steve Jobs were all born under the sign of Pisces. Chapter 12. Love.
All right, loves. I'm gonna stop right there for the night. I come back, I don't know, maybe tomorrow sometime after I get back home. Do a part 3. I just wanted to drop in, let y'all know I was still here. Everything is cool. Y'all have a good night, all right, my loves? Share the video out, like, share, subscribe. As always, go within so you never go without.